My name is Julie, and I want to welcome everybody to our September meeting of Arvadans For Progressive Action. We are APA. We're a grassroots activist community that works to change our community, to elect people that better reflect our views. We're excited to have local youth activists at our meeting today to share what they're doing and why they are doing it. We hope we are able to get some ideas on how we can assist them in their efforts. As a reminder, this will be recorded and put available on the APA website as a video. If you don't want to appear on the video, please contact Taylor. For Zoom participants, please post your questions, comments in the chat. The chat button is on the bottom and looks like a bubble. Click on that and type in your comment, and we will be sure to ask the speakers your questions. Is there anyone here, new APA members, who would like to introduce themselves? Do we have any elected officials or people running for office today? Yeah, please.
I'll be fast because I want to hear from the students. So I'm Joel Newton. I'm running for school board. Really quick about myself, because this is really personal to me, is our family moved to Edgewater about 11 years ago, enrolled our kids in a neighborhood school, Lumberg Elementary, Title I school. About 90% of the students are Latino, 90% receive free reduced lunch. Very quickly, as we entered into that community, began to realize there were some needs at that school and some real opportunities to help students succeed. So I started a group called Edgewater Collective to really come alongside students and families and provide the opportunities that families said they needed for their students in their schools. The interesting thing in Jeffco, and I'm probably speaking to the choir here, there's a big gap between the education of students of color and students growing up in poverty and students that look like my daughters that are white. And part of the issue is we're not talking about the problem. You'll hear people at schools in this area, A West and others, that proclaim that their school is great because of their test scores. Then they look at schools where my daughters went in Edgewater and say, those schools are struggling because they're in poverty. And I would dare you to come to our schools, talk to our Latina moms, and tell them their students don't have a shot at college or career because they're working hard to overcome poverty. So the reason I'm running is to really elevate the opportunities in our Title I schools all across Jeffco, and to make sure that our students of color and students that are working hard to overcome poverty have the resources that they need to succeed. So I don't know if it's good or not, but I have my first draft of my flyers that I'll put back there if you want to check out our website. But I want to be done because I want to hear from the students.
What district are you running for?
District 4. So it's Edgewater and East Lakewood. But the fun of Jeffco is everybody everywhere, and Jeffco votes for all the districts.
Thank you. This group was founded during a very dark period in our country, and we're not quite out of it yet. But we have a tradition of sharing what keeps us up at night and what gives us hope. So I will start. What keeps me up at night is the climate. I see oceans are getting hotter. I see climate is changing, and that bothers me. Who has something that keeps them up at night? Yes.
Big oil and gas. I see them getting more and more powerful. I used to work for ExxonMobil for 2003 to 2019, and I saw how powerful they were getting, especially with high oil and gas prices now. And I think that a lot needs to be done to push back against them.
Thank you. Yes.
What gives me hope is that there's a bunch of Gen Z or busy young people here, and I'm ready to pass the torch, but I'm also ready to share whatever it is they need from me to succeed.
Thank you. Yes.
What gives me hope is that I just took all my containers down into the zero market at Edgewater Marketplace, and so all kinds of stuff in my own packaging, which was mainly glass and metal. So I tried to do as little plastic as I can. It's very difficult, but there are places that I love to do.
And where's that located?
Edgewater Marketplace, 20th almost at Sheridan. It's fabulous. There's also a fair trade store down there. So
Very nice. Anybody else?
What gives me hope is, these young people coming to our meeting today, and, they're very impressive, what I've heard from them so far, and I'm so excited to hear, what you guys are working on and how we can assist. And so the younger generation just really gives me hope and how active they are, and, they've got a lot on their plate and they're moving the needle, so. I'm excited.
Yes.
What gives me hope is that this group and the growing number of groups that are out there working hard to get the message out as to what the Biden administration and current politics are all about, what they're doing is helping the American people, and they're working hard to get out the vote. Getting the message out and getting the vote out is what's giving me hope when I see people working really hard to do that. That is what we need to have. As we're passing the baton, I'm 80 as of a week or two ago, and I'm not passing the baton. I'll stand with you and carry a baton. Let's keep going.
Very nice, thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
And Shauna just came in.
Oh, Shauna, would you like to introduce yourself as a candidate and take a few minutes to talk about what your agenda?
Or should I just go up there to the microphone?
Yeah, yes.
We. Okay, all right. That's all the county for. Hello. Thank you. Hey, everybody, sorry to be late. My name is Shauna Ambrose, and I'm running for City Council in Arvada District 2. That is everything in Arvada that is east of Wadsworth to Sheridan, from the interstate up to 80th. District 2 is the oldest part of Arvada, and it's also the most diverse and the most Democratic. So I am running on a platform for affordable housing and for making sure that we have a number of citizen initiatives to take over responsibilities from the police, because our police force is down by 40 police officers. And so we've got to do a lot for public safety to be able to protect our communities, especially in District 2, where the highways are running through Sheridan and Wadsworth. And so there's a lot of crimes of opportunity, and petty crime is increasing, but we need to be able to protect our communities without a badge and a gun. And then the third thing that I'm running on is for environmental justice. I work full-time for the Rainforest Action Network. Arvada could access funds from the EPA to build a climate plan. And then after we have that plan, we can access funds from the Inflation Reduction Act for climate adaptation and mitigation. And this is really important because if we work with the EPA, we can incorporate environmental justice into the plan, which is, as you know, a lot of marginalized and poor communities are usually the ones who bear the brunt of climate change and disaster and are unfairly targeted, but with the climate crisis. And the Inflation Reduction Act actually has climate justice funds that our city could access through this if we had a climate plan that was for that. So those are the three big things that I'm running on, but I was a member of and I'm still a member of the Arvada Progressive Association. I was on the anti-war committee with Bruce and contacting our legislators. So I definitely represent your all's values. And if we want to win Arvada, we've got to win District 2. It is the most Democrat. So any progressive candidate that is running, I would recommend Sharon and Lauren, for example. If they're going to win, it is because we are out in District 2. So please volunteer for canvassing. I'm carrying everybody's like my literature, but also Sharon and Lauren's literature at the doors. So we can get all three candidates done in District 2 and make sure it gets turned out. Ballots drop October 15th. And so we need to get out there on the doors and phone banking now that before the ballots come, because most people vote as soon as they get their ballot. So election day is not really November 7th, it's October 15th, and we need to be involved now. So if folks would like to get involved, I have my business card. You can raise your hand and I'll come around and we can reach out later to make sure that we are out there winning Arvada for the progressive candidates that we value. Do folks have questions?
Shauna.
Yeah.
We need to talk.
Oh, okay, I didn't know, like, if people would be able to ask me questions or anything about that. Okay, all right, sure.
Thank you,
Just so everyone knows, and when you're speaking, we have a timekeeper who will be flashing you when your time is up, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. We do collect donations to help pay for the space, the church, the Zoom, website, and emails that we have to send. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this around. If you're interested, please donate. It's now time to get reports from our team action leaders. Allison is our communications and education.
Okay, for communications, just kind of business as usual. We are still doing member bios, and so you'll see those come up. So, you know, keep sharing stuff on Facebook account, reading our email. And then for next one, I'm also the education team lead. So this is our education meeting with the students this month, but also the big thing coming up is September 26th is this Jeffco School Board Forum. We are not sponsoring it because it is a partisan forum. The League of Women Voters is sponsoring it, and the Jeffco PTA is sponsoring it. It will have all the candidates. Joel is one of the candidates. He's committed to coming to the forum. Aaron, I'm gonna forget people's last name. Kenworth, Michelle Applegate, Thomas Wiki, and then there's one more who we're reaching out to. Should all be at the forum. There's going to be very tough questions asked with these candidates. I really hope that everybody attends, and you can see how the candidates are answering these questions, and vote accordingly for schools. Yeah.
Is it on Zoom as well?
It is not on Zoom, it's live streamed, so there will be a direct link where you can watch the live stream from the comfort of your home. You can go, it's September 26th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Jefferson Unitarian Church in Golden. So you can go in person. The live stream will also be downloaded later and posted to YouTube, so if you've missed the event completely, you can still watch it, but it will be like a 2-hour event, so it's not the most fun to watch on YouTube later. So yeah, highly encourage everyone to go to the school board part. That's my little thing. Thank you.
Our healthcare team leader is Kathy Blake, who is on Zoom. Kathy, can you hear me?
I'm unmuted. Can you guys hear me?
I can. Can you hear Kathy in the back of the room? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Kathy Blake, the Healthcare Action Team Leader. We have monthly meetings, and our next meeting is Saturday, September 16th on Zoom at 4 p.m. And we've been doing, last month we had a action team meeting potluck, which was well attended, and we had some great food. And a couple things we're working on right now. So Tom Gottlieb, our who I think is in the room, has a report on how to fund a system to finance universal, equitable health insurance. And he gave us a handout, and we may ask him to come in and talk in more detail about that. So thank you, Tom. We also talked about Healing US movie, which several other groups across the Front Range are having screenings, and we're looking at places to have a screening for ourselves. And the other thing is, let's see, the open enrollment period for Medicare is coming up in October, and we may be doing some writing to letters to the editor, things like that. And then the only other thing is there's a coalition that I'm a part of with other groups that are trying to get universal single payer healthcare. And we are going to we're going to reintroduce 1209, which is the one we were trying to get past this last session, but it didn't happen. So, and they're also trying to perhaps hire a lobbyist. So if you want to be part of the action for trying to improve everyone's health, yeah, I'll put my email in the chat. So thanks very much, and good health to everyone.
Thank you, Kathy. Team leader for anti-war is Bruce Morrison.
Hi. I have a really short report today. Last meeting, the anti-war put on a program in Ukraine, which I hope is very informative, because a lot of information out there that's not in the mainstream media. So if you want to help plan new things that the anti-war is doing, we've done penny polls, we've done handout cards with information, we've done a lot of things. But if you want to help plan that, or if you want to just get involved, I have some cards with my contact information, or you can just sign up as you come in. It might be a bit of a delay if you sign up that way, because I'm not trained on the system yet. But anyway, if anyone's interested. Oh, I did one more quick thing. I just want to remind people that we spend on militarism and war approximately $4,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. So it's a lot of money that we waste damaging the environment and making the world more unstable. And
Thank you, Bruce.
anyway,
Environment is Taylor.
So we use as our mantra, think globally, act locally. So there's two things that we're working on. One is that we're participating along with the Alta Vista neighborhood, doing a monthly cleanup of Ralston Central Park. Oil reserves in Utah. The proposal, which currently is on hold because a district judge has thrown it back to the Department of Interior, is for 2-mile-long oil trains, as many as a half dozen a day, rolling through Arvada. They will come through the Moffett Tunnel. Under the current rules by the Department of Transportation, they're anticipated to have a single engineer for a 2-mile train. As the trains come through the Moffett Tunnel, this runs parallel or adjacent to the Colorado River all the way from Utah. They come out of the Moffett Tunnel, there is a 2% grade as the rail lines switchbacks back and forth down to the city of Arvada. 2% grade is the maximum grade allowed for rail traffic, but it was never designed for 2-mile-long trains. So the question isn't whether there will be an accident. There will be. The question is how many per year and where. So I'm going to be distributing information to the environment team email list. If you want to get on it, go ahead and sign up through Facebook. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay, and political action, Joyce.
Okay, I'm spending most of my time with the city council race, and Allison has very kindly picked up the slack for the, school board race. Right now, there are 9 people running for 4 seats on the city council. We have invited them to a forum, which will be next month on October 7th at 4 p.m. Probably not in this room, probably in the other room, but I'm not sure yet. Not everyone is coming. We've had a definite no for one in District 4, just because he does not want to come, but Viper, her opponent, is coming. Sean Foster is coming for District 2. Michael Griffin probably will come. I haven't heard a definitive answer. And Bob Loveridge, who was running in 2, is now running at large against Sharon Davis and Kathleen Kennedy. He has said yes. Sharon Davis has said yes. Kathleen Kennedy has not responded. John Marriott and Lauren Simpson are running for mayor, and they both plan to attend. So I do hope you will plan to come and listen to what they have to say about the future of Arvada and their viewpoints on all sorts of things that we care about, mostly housing, environment, that kind of things. Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really important to hear their views. I think they're kind of like this in some instances. So I do hope that you will plan to attend. You can read answers to questions that we pose to them at our website, Arvadans For Progressive Action.org. Just go to the menu and look for political action, and you'll find their responses.
And we'll send those out in the newsletter and put it on Facebook this week too. Yeah.
So yeah, just check them out. If you would check them out sooner rather than later and find people that you would like to either fund and or work for, that would be great. Shauna is absolutely correct. I need to get out there and knock on some doors. That's how you win city council pieces. Thanks.
Okay, I am Julie Callahan. I am the Social Connections Team Leader. On September 23rd, I will be hosting the meet and greet for Lauren Simpson. It was supposed to be today, but everybody was busy today. So it is being postponed until September 23rd, which is a Saturday, 3 to 5. You all are invited to come to my house. This is not an official endorsement from APA. It's just me hosting a meet and greet for somebody who you can come and ask questions so you can get your answers. The book club is scheduled to start in about 2 weeks. Our first meeting, I think, is going to be a what have you been reading, so we can sort of get an idea, get to know you, and then we will come up with a list of books and or podcasts that we will listen to and get together like every couple weeks. I'm currently looking at Saturday mornings or Wednesday evenings. That's all I have, but I do want to have time at the very end of the program if you want to take a couple minutes to introduce yourself. Okay, Allison?
Sure. All right, so just before we get into our student speakers, just a reminder that this is being recorded for members who couldn't attend today and will be posted to our APA YouTube because there are minors in the room and you guys are speaking. If you do not want your video posted on YouTube about what you're speaking, we will cut your part out and figure that out. So just let us know, let me know, let Taylor know. So we will honor anybody's wishes. We have 4 speakers today. Mavi just came in, she's not feeling well, so she's just gonna say hi and then I'll have you come up in just a second. And then the other 3 speakers we're gonna speak about gun violence prevention, environmental protection, and LBGTQ advocacy. Each speaker will have about 10 minutes to speak on the They're going to give a brief overview of their organization, why they're activists, what their organization's goals are for this year, and the best ways for us to get involved as a group. So that, if you want to come up and just say hi, you do just say school, she found me for eco. It doesn't work, we just yell or talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am Mavi Chator, and I am the founder of Economy for Eco-Ethics and the Global Eco-Ethics Movement. I am a United Nations Child Advisor. So I will not, I just came to say I will not be able to speak or answer any further questions because I have a sore throat and fever.
Oh,
So,
it's okay, and we'll invite you back, we'd love to have you at a later meeting, maybe.
yeah, I would love to give more details about myself in any future meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
I just might add, if you have any information about him, please phone number on this flyer, you can take a photo, I will leave it here in my home, and if you have like,
Look more about like cross streets.
say like my address.
Not your address, like 72nd Ward, you know, like something like that.
It's 64th and Quaker.
64th and Quaker.
So, I have these flyers and you can take a photo of them and then save the number. So if you have any information, please follow it.
Okay, thank you. And Mavi is very active on our Facebook page, so you can always follow what she's doing on the APA Facebook page, and we really appreciate like how active you've been in our community. So feel better. Thank you for stopping by. I'm so sorry. Bye. All right. Well, so our next speaker is Izzy Quindy. She's 16 years old. She goes to Arvada West. And she is part of the Gender Sexuality Alliance, known as GSA.
Hi everyone, I'm Izzy. I go by any and all pronouns as I am sexuality and gender non-conforming. I'm 16 years old and I go to Arvada West. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak about LGBTQ plus youth today. I'm president of my school's GSA. It stands for Gender and Sexuality Alliance. Some of you may know it as the Gay Straight Alliance. The mission for the Gender and Sexuality Alliance at Arvada West High School is to work towards a more accepting environment for all people, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, through education, support, social action, and advocacy. We believe that schools can be truly safe only when every student is assured of access to an education without fear of harassment or violence. Our GSA brings together gay youth and straight allies to join as a single unit to stand against harassment and promote equality. In 2022, 45% of queer youth considered committing suicide, and 14% of that same population attempted suicide in Colorado, according to the Trevor Project. This is why our main goal is to provide an environment for queer youth to feel a sense of belonging rather than loneliness. We do this through club meetings twice a month and planned activities, such as group bonding, pronoun pin making, and celebrating National Coming Out Day, not only within our club, but our entire school. Visibility is crucial to a welcoming environment, so our club participates in our school's Trick or Treat Street every year by making elaborate sets for thousands of community members to see. This allows our club to be at the forefront of our community. We also do community service. One example is our underwear drive for Urban Peak in partnership with our school's football team. Urban Peak is a shelter serving homeless youth in Denver. In addition, last year for Pride Prom, I collected donated suits and dresses and gave them to low-income and closeted members of my club, so that they could have a nice gender-affirming clothing that they could feel comfortable in. As of this year, I'm in the process of creating an even larger clothing program that will take donated dresses and suits from people in the larger Arvada community and sell them for very low prices ranging from $1 to $5, so that low-income students can get dresses and suits for cheap. Any profits made from the sale will go directly into buying prom tickets for low-income students. Not only does this help low-income students, but it helps LGBTQ plus students be able to get gender-affirming clothing without having to out themselves to their parents. For the last 2 years, I have also been in charge of my school's Day of Silence. If you do not know, Day of Silence is a day to recognize the silence that queer youth faces when it comes to reporting hate crimes. As a community, we often feel unheard when we speak about the issues we face at school. In fact, last year alone, over 35,000 LGBTQ plus hate crimes went unreported, according to the LGBT Foundation. So, on Day of Silence, students at schools pledge not to talk the entire day, including in classes and even with friends. My GSA provides the resources and education needed for the event. In addition to that, last school year, I was on my school's principal hiring committee, and we were able to hire an openly gay principal. This may not seem like a big deal for many, but queer students, this is a win because it lets us see representation at the admin level. Being a part of GSA is very near and dear to my heart. As a young child, I had a very interesting experience with the LGBTQ plus community. My older brother, who was 10 years older than me, and his friends are all a part of this community. I spent a lot of my time with them as a young child playing Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. While on the other hand, my mom's side of the family tended to be more conservative, especially when it came to LGBTQ politics, and they tended to be slightly homophobic. This created a special kind of internalized homophobia in myself. On one hand, I saw it as a wonderful thing that people naturally were, but I also saw that if I truly accepted who I was, I would be shunned from my family. So, when I had the opportunity in middle school to join my community, so I started joining that and exploring who I was. I soon came out as bisexual in 7th grade due to my newfound confidence. And once I started high school, I realized Arvada West had a very prominent GSA. We had 150 members my freshman year. I soon joined and fell in love with the idea of activism through school. My sponsor, Ms. Dahlman, was always very supportive of every idea our club had. She was one of the first adults I felt comfortable with talking about my queer identity and exploring it more. This is why GSAs are so important. It allows for community, even for those who have felt outcasted and pushed away from family and friends. I want to help that gateway and show teenagers just like me what it feels like to be loved in a diverse community. When it comes to legislation in the state of Colorado concerning queer youth, there's not a lot of negative laws. We are very lucky to live in a state that values queer people. But many school systems do not always have the same values. Currently in the district of Jeffco, teachers are no longer allowed to ask for students' pronouns and preferred names on any written survey or piece of paper. This can create a sense of fear amongst queer students because it leads to misgendering and a variety of other issues. It can also lead to outing of those students to parents. Previously, these surveys allowed students to see who their safe teachers were. If your teacher gave you a survey that asked for your pronouns and your preferred name at school versus at home, you're going to know that that person is an ally and you can be comfortable with them. Along with that, though, teachers are oftentimes asked to take down any pride flags, progress flags, and/or ally flags within their classrooms. The district allows for these flags to be hung, but many principals continue to ask these teachers to take them down. Personally, I am very lucky that many of my teachers hang these flags and ally posters within their classrooms, and that my principal is in full support of our teachers. With that, though, school board elections are coming up. So, if you are eligible, make sure to vote for candidates that support queer youth and that vow to protect our rights. In addition, A West has a gender-neutral bathroom, which is a very important part of our community because it allows for our gender non-conforming students to be comfortable in the restroom. It actually follows under the Title IX. But many high schools in our area do not have such gender-neutral bathrooms and can make many students feel uncomfortable, or they have to walk 5 to 10 minutes all the way to their clinic restroom just to go to the bathroom during the day, which takes time out of their learning. So also, I would like people who have larger voices that can actually vote to help me advocate for gender-neutral bathrooms in all schools, not only in Arvada, but hopefully Colorado. School being an LGBTQ plus safe space lets queer students feel welcomed and able to focus on schoolwork. That's why these little changes have such a huge impact on our community. You may be wondering how else you can help. For you to support queer youth, it can be as simple as donating to institutions like the Trevor Project, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on advocacy and crisis help for LGBTQ youth in America. You can also volunteer your time to places locally, such as the Center on Colfax. It is an LGBTQ youth center near downtown Denver. They are they are one of the organizations that puts on Pride Prom every year for LGBTQ youth. But the most important thing is your vote. You are not only voting for yourself, but the youth in your community who cannot vote, such as me. I know sometimes it can feel like a lot to keep up with everything going on in the world, but if we do not attempt to keep up, we will drown in our own ignorance. If you take away anything from my talk today, it is that as people, we have our differences, but we are still all human and should respect one another as such. Many teens like me feel helpless when it comes to the world around us, but you have the ability to make us feel heard. It is vital that you hear our voices and hear them clearly. Again, thank you so much for giving me your time today, and please remember that we are all human, no matter our differences. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, there'll be time for questions at the end. I'll have everybody come up and ask questions.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Then our next speaker will be Maya Kinney and her friend Meryl Welsh, and they are both 16, I believe. And they attend Cherry Creek High School, and they are part of Student Activism.
Hi guys, my name is Maya Kinney. My pronouns are she, her. I'm 16 years old and I attend Cherry Creek High School. Last year we started Students Demand Action at Cherry Creek High School. That is a national organization that is dedicated to the anti-gun violence movement and ending gun violence, specifically in schools. As most of you saw what happened in East last year, this is an issue that's really close to me. Almost every kid at Creek had friends at East who they knew they were close with, and seeing that happen so close to us was scary. 3 times in 1 year, and we lost friends and people close to us. And I even had friends who were at the STEM school shooting a year ago, and those effects still live with you. And I just think this movement is so important because I think it's so easy to forget what we're going through. And I think our legislators often like to sit behind their desks and they don't realize what it's like to walk into school and be terrified to be there each and every day. You walk down those halls and you don't know when the alarm is going to go off saying, get in your classrooms, lock the doors, close the blinds. That's terrifying, the fact that I wake up and I go to school and I don't know if I'm saying bye to my mom for the last time. So at Cherry Creek High School, though, we just started last year, but I think we've been doing great things. Last year, some of the things we did is we testified at the state capitol for House Bill 1230. If you don't know what that expanded the red flag law, which allowed medical professionals, education, licensed mental health care specialists, licensed educators, and district attorneys to petition in court for someone to have their guns taken away. And that's really big because before only police officers and families could do that. And now we've increased that response time, which now more people can offer help and support, making sure that people aren't a danger to themselves and or others. Some other things that we did is we met up with other schools in the district and even beyond in Douglas County, and we've been working with them to figure out what we do. One of the things we're looking to do this year is host a cross-district panel in which we're going to invite our superintendents to come and speak. We're going to have community members, both gun owning and non-gun owning households, SROs, just asking them about issues they feel safe with. And I'll stay in contact with Allison and let you guys all know about when that's happening, especially if we want to invite anyone as speakers. And if you ever know anyone who's looking to come speak to us, we're always happy to have people come and talk to us at our club. And some of the other things we've been doing, we've been in close contact with our principal, Silva, who's very supportive of this. We've been working on improving our reaction to lockdown drills, asking questions, getting involved with the community. And our turnout has been great. We went from having clubs like 10 kids to like 50 kids. And I think we've just been making great strides. Rhiannon over there, we've attended proclamation signings together. And I just think the things we're doing as a youth is incredible because even though we can't vote, we're still showing up. And if any of you guys are looking to help out, one of the things I would strongly recommend is, though it's not right now, legislative session for 2024 is beginning in February, I think. And showing up to the Capitol, giving a few hours of your time, I know it is hard, but you go up there and you give a 2-minute speech testifying for some of these bills, whether it be something small like who can petition for someone to have their guns taken away, or even bigger like an assault weapons ban. You can ever make it to any of those, or even just showing up and being there for the student speakers who do show up and testify. That means a lot to us because it is scary when House Representative members, especially from some rural parts of Colorado, they try to come at you, they try to get under your skin. Just having people there really helps. And this is one of our members, Meryl Welsh, to talk to you about why she got involved in the movement.
So I joined Student Action because I really felt like I had to. I feel like it's all, and there's yet another group of kids that have been killed in their classrooms just trying to learn. Now, these kids, they're all ages, but the kids that are my age really started to hit close to home, especially with the East High School shooting last year. I mean, these are high school age kids that were killed just on the other side of town. And it kind of became something that it wasn't just on the news anymore. It was something that was real in my everyday life, and it made me understand how real this danger is, not just for kids, but for everyone in the communities that we all live in. And watching it just happen over and over again made me feel helpless. I feel like a lot of us can relate to that. But it also made me feel guilty that some of these kids had to die and the rest of us just went on and did nothing about it. I really don't understand how many kids have to die before we are willing to make changes that are going to keep it from happening. Because at this point, every kid that dies with these bullets in their chest, their blood is on our hands, the people that are left that continue to do nothing, that enable this to go on. So I joined SDA because I really wanted to find a voice in the issue, and I wanted to be a part of a group that was going to try and do something. And yeah, like our last speaker was kind of talking about, we aren't able to vote and we aren't able to run for city council and all these things, but you are. And so I would urge you all, especially those of you running for the school board and for city council, to push for some of these issues, because I feel like there's nothing more important than making sure the future generation is safe to get our educations.
So powerful. Thank you so much. That was fun. You guys are also well spoken and I love it. So next one is Rhiannon Danborn, and she is 17. She goes to Arvada West, and she is part of Team Enough. Sorry. And that is another gun violence prevention group.
All right, so like she just said, I'm 17. My name is Rhiannon Danborn. I go to Arvada West High School. I'm part of Team Denver, which is a youth-led gun violence prevention organization. We are comparable to Student Action. So Team Enough is the youth-led branch of the Brady organization, which is Brady United Against Gun Violence. Again, it's comparable to how Student Action is underneath every town. So what our organization has done, so Team Enough Denver was established in 2022, so we've only been really around for a year. In that last year, we have worked on the campaigns for gun violence prevention candidates in the midterm elections. So we worked to help elect Senator Tom Sullivan to Colorado Senate. We worked on the campaign of Ike McCorkle as well, who unfortunately lost to Ken Buck. So we did lobby days, we did working on their campaigns and helping get them into office. We also, hold on, I have a bulleted list so that I can actually make sure that I'm including the other stuff that we have done. Okay, sorry. We also helped work passing the 5 historic gun violence prevention bills that was passed through our legislature this past General Assembly. So as the Students in Action, students said we went and we testified, which we did student testimonies in front of the House. We went and worked on sorry, I'm like, so we did advocacy and student testimony for those. So getting up and talking to our representatives and doing the 2-minute talks of this is our student perspective and helping push for those. We joined the Colorado Coalition Against Gun Violence. So we are working alongside other Colorado organizations such as Colorado Ceasefire and trying to establish ourselves there. We worked with Giffords, Everytown, Colorado Ceasefire and others. And we also, our biggest thing that we did in the spring is we organized and hosted the 2023 High School Gun Violence Prevention Art Show. And our goal with this art show, it was hosted in Denver, was to bring together all types of high school students from all over the Denver metro area and give them a space to express their outrage, their grief over this issue. So, and that was really huge to us because we wanted to give kids a space to express that and not just be working on legislative stuff, because gun violence prevention specifically is a very emotionally taxing. I have prevention for most of my life. My Jeffco Student Action before it got kind of weird, but that was around the time of Parkland. My family actually, so I saw very upfront students who have been hugely impacted by this, and I learned from my sister a lot about organizing, and then died down a little bit. Over the past week, I helped organize the March for Our Lives protest in June of this past year, and then there, of that rally were then what Team Enough is going to be doing. Team Enough Denver is going to be doing this next year. Our main campaign goal for this year is going to most, and especially in schools. So we are trying to push for, like, when we have the code of conduct handed out to kids at the beginning of the year, that there's information and that is the one thing that we have a legislative session. I think it would look a lot, as you guys have already said, about showing up for us when you're testifying or testifying yourselves to help us with these issues. So yeah, that is, I think, as much as I have.
I'd just like to invite you all just to come up to the front of the room and we'll have some Q&A for you. You can just stand here and the Q&A can come from anyone in the room. I have a question to start. Just start off the Q&A about the safe and secure storage for Rian. Is that, I remember a superintendent meeting with Tracy Dorland, and she said that something about Jeffco School partnering with the Arvada police to actually like give families that don't have safe storage like free gun safes or something like that. Is that something that's still happening?
I am not sure on that. That would be great if that is happening. We're also looking to give information alongside that. I would need to look into that more to see if that's still something that's happening. Do you know when that meeting happened?
It happened last.
It was her tour that she
Yeah.
was doing on re-envisioning high school.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember if it was like, this is happening or we're considering making this happen. But yeah, I saw her at Ralston Valley High School and it sounded great. Like, I think that's a great, initiative to try to get those, you know, for the people that don't have safe storage and maybe don't want to buy a gun safe, if there's a way to get a free gun safe or a discounted gun safe to them so that they can get that safe storage access easier, cheaper, like here's a safe way to store your gun, and by the way, it's free, like so I was just
I do know that Moms Demand Action is currently pressing for, I think they're Mom, you know it.
Mom Demand Action.
Yeah.
So that's someone that raised SCC for Colorado, and I'm also Moms Demand Action started leader. I just met with Jeff Pearson's American 2 weeks ago. I connected with you.
Yes, I would love that. I would love that. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
I have a daughter at Ralston Valley High School, and she met stiff resistance to starting an environmental club. Could you name what the backlash was against your effort?
Yeah, so we got told pretty point blank that it was too political, even though we are not associated with a political party. I mean, granted, yes, but we are not officially associated with any political parties. We got told that it would be too polarizing, too political. We got told that we could start the school safety club and talk about fire drills, which is not what we are about. So it was mainly a lot of backlash of it would divide the school, be too political, too polarizing. And they also said we need an example of where a club like this has been started somewhere else, which we pointed to Students Demand Action, and that was just kind of met with, okay. So it was mainly the polarization and that it would be too political. And we have, since we got a petition at Ralston Valley with, I think like 50 kids who said they would be in support of this. We got a letter of recommendation from our Colorado Brady representatives that we would have an adult, and it was still kind of shut down. So we are aiming to restart those efforts with more pressure, not really listening to them telling us no this year. But yeah, that was the main backlash that we received.
I'm curious for the other schools that do have clubs, is there a Student Demand Action club in Cherry Creek, or is it like not associated with the school?
No, sorry, no, we're completely associated with the school. Our principal, our activities director has been a really big part in helping us. They've been really friendly about it. The only thing they've ever told us no against is like when we were attending the Student Demand Action rally, that we couldn't put up flyers advertising that, just because from a district standpoint, that would be proposing like the school itself, because it's a school club. The school technically represents the club in the community. So I do understand the understanding that like you can't show political belief through that. But I do know from Creek, when we told them we were starting it and we like had to get our papers in, it was also an open discussion. We have a lot of gun owners in our club, a lot of students that who go on hunting trips with their family, who own guns, who use guns. And so we just kind of like, our school is very open to the idea of having a place where both sides could exist. And yes, we promote anti-gun violence agendas, but we're not always anti-gun. And I think that's how we got around the whole political issue.
And for you, Izzy, you felt support from your school or like with the GSA, are there any other clubs that are like that?
Recently, we felt support. I will say with our last principal, we had to kindly send a Title IX email to her and her boss because she closed our gender neutral bathrooms for almost an entire year, and I got a different story every time I asked admin. So me and Ms. Bellman sent a kindly worded professional email saying this is against Title IX and we need a valued reason of why it is not open. And magically the next Monday, when they were doing principal interviews and my principal's boss was there, our gender neutral bathrooms were open. We do not have a lot of other clubs that would have any political leaning really at our school, do we? We have Student Voice, which is, they also are very big, like they planned Day Without Hate last year for our school, which I was part of. We have the Union for Students of Color, but the thing is with those, and Union for Native American Students, I believe.
Yeah, 4 years ago, there was a very political club, Turning Point USA.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I want you to know, Rhiannon, when GSAs were first introduced in the county, I was a student at Arvada West in 1980, and we were told it was too political. There was no GSA at A West at that time, and my friends and I wanted to start one, and we were told it's too political. So GSAs have been through what you're hearing now, and I would be happy to help you at Arvada
Thank you, I
West.
appreciate that.
Rhiannon, let me know if you want our principal and our school board to reach
I
out.
would also appreciate that.
Because like we also have Cherry Creek High School Republicans, like both parties exist at our school. We also have Democrats, we also have socialists. So I don't understand that.
We also, Arvada West have a Fellowship for Christian Athletes Club that is supported by the school, and Young Life, which is a religious youth group, which I am in full, I believe that there is places and times for that, but when administration is showing favor to one or the other is when we have an issue, because I myself identify as Lutheran. But with that, you have to understand that religion cannot be a threat of hate, and also neither can political, because it's a genuine issue, and I fully support that idea that they can exist together, but they have to exist together.
Yeah, RV is currently, and I brought up Turning Point USA because I know that AWS doesn't agree with that, but yeah, RV is currently shutting us down. Yeah.
Sorry, I guess I should probably call it up. Go ahead, Shauna, and then we'll continue.
So Colorado passed a law that you can only be 21 to buy weapons, but it got sued. Can you all give us an update of like what the state of play is with that law?
I personally don't know enough about that case or that issue, like,
I was gonna say, yeah, so we helped, lobbied for the raising the age to 21. I'm not yet sure how it, do you know how far that case has gotten, or? That's what I was asking you. Yeah, no, I was like, I don't know, like, yeah. When that law was supposed to be implemented, is this stopping it from implementation, or what we can do to help implement the law, like anything along those lines? I believe that it's going to be implemented. I have not heard that it has been shut down at this point. That was because the bill signing that we were at was what, June?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is quick action on whoever decided to do that already, but yeah, I will look at following that, but I am not sure at this point.
So, all of your issues are really important, and we were very impressed with each of you. And I wonder in your schools whether or not you are doing, or you see a club in your school doing some student registration because your votes are important. Are there someone out there doing that?
I can speak for at least the Jefferson County District. So one thing that I do enjoy about Jefferson County as of right now, we do have a GSA summit where they actually invite our GSA members to come talk to district officials. And we actually talk to them about what we're seeing within our own schools. And then they also, sometimes they'll send out a survey among students. And last year they saw that queer students were less likely to take a PE class and were wondering why. And so they directly asked queer students from Jeffco, and we told them our experiences. My personal experience was whenever I was in a locker room, one, I felt body dysmorphia because I'm gender nonconforming. And 2, comments are made about queer students in locker rooms, no matter how out they are. I one time got told by a girl that I shouldn't even be in a locker room because I was attracted to girls, and I was like, I just want to change and go to class, and I felt uncomfortable myself. So we do have district officials listening to us, at least from my standpoint, and there are things happening to address the issues we bring up. We have, I believe it's New Era, Colorado, does voter registration. We are looking, they do trainings to certify other people so that they are able to register other kids to vote. That is one of the things that we are hoping to accomplish this fall as well, with once we have high school subchapters established, that then we can get our leaders from those subchapters and their members certified to register other kids to vote, and then we can pre-register and register them to vote, because if you are 16, you're able to pre-register, and that's a vast majority of high schoolers. So that is something that we are working on, yes.
For us, we've been working with the Douglas County Schools. East did their own registration drive in which they went to their registrar, got a list of kids because it's technically considered public information on who is and isn't registered to vote. Sat down with them, got into contact, found these, and it was mostly seniors. And so I know all the other schools in Douglas County with Student Action and Cherry Creek High School are looking to do like monthly voter registration drives during common upperclassmen lunch period. And I think the game has also changed because when you go to get your permit and when you go to get your license now, you're automatically pre-registering the vote, and you can check no on that, but you automatically have that option. And so I don't know if all of you knew that, but I think that's really big because now we have this new generation who's getting their licenses and they're also registering to vote. That second they turn 18, they can start to make decisions and fight for us.
I'm currently pre-registered to vote in the next presidential election. That's my voting year.
I have a question. Izzy, you said you're collecting clothing to resell?
Yeah, yes. So I haven't completely started the whole process because I've been doing other stuff with some of my other clubs, because I'm also part of FCCLA High School and they're big on community service. I can send information to everyone. It's like collecting old prom dresses, because everyone has some kind of like formal wear at their house they don't wear anymore. And so I will send that information out as soon as I get it started. I just have to talk to Ms. Cranfield at our school, who's our activities director.
Thank you.
Of course.
Well, I appreciate the presentation. You show some courage, and through that, there's hope for the future. You wouldn't do this without hope. Back in the 1960s, as a conscientious objector, for example, I would set myself next to the Marines, the Army, they still end up advertising their services as war makers, right? And I would have a desk there for conscientious objection. And it really takes courage to do that, and the heat that you get. The question that I have is, where do you get the political heat, which I surely did? And is it from the board of directors, education board of directors? Is it from the principal and administration? Is it from the social studies individual, where evidence-based science really would support you and what you're doing? And then finally, the solution we had in Europe was very simple. And that is, if we set up a club, and that was your particular way of doing things, if it was too politically hot, it was a public school. Anyone can use public facilities. It was not as part of the agenda from the school. So after school, for example, teaching religion, I was a Quaker, and we were teaching religion, and we had time after school hours, and we could have a collection of people coming in to learn about Quakerism. Use your imagination and how you can use the law and where the power really exists so that you can accomplish your goal. So I hope that's helpful.
Thank you for that, yes. And for the question within there, a lot of the political heat for me actually comes from our student body sometimes. A lot of you would not like to hear this, but the F slur, if you do not know what that is, I'm not going to say it because no, is still in use today. I have been called it many times. My members have been called it. There are other derogatory names we've been called. Our student body, occasionally, especially my freshman year, is where most of our political heat came from, because they were like, well, if they can have that club, I can have this club. And I was like, great, go for it. Because I fully believe you should have your opinion, and I am in my own club, but a lot of our political heat comes from our own student body, which is almost more pressure, because it's like, those are my peers, and it's a little worrisome. But yeah,
We've faced pressure from other organizations. So like, for example, we've had events that we planned, and then Rocky Mountain gun owners have put out tweets to essentially use intimidation tactics against us. So we definitely have had pressure from other groups, and we have had interactions with like representatives like you guys were talking about, who definitely try to get under your skin. But I think we also have equal support systems from candidates who support our issues, and other organizations like the ones within Colorado, Coalition Against Gun Violence, who support us. So I think it balances out. But yeah.
I think our backlash comes from two places. When it came to testifying, there were definitely some representatives. And if you guys have been to any testifying things, there's a student named Alexander Cisneros. He's a very avid, he testified, he went after East was in a lockdown, he got escorted just to be at the Capitol and testify while there were kids at his school locked in buildings. And I think that's so brave of him. And there's a lot of representatives who come after him. One representative, Representative Luck, she told him that his fact about firearms being the main killer of youth was untrue, and asked him his source, knowing that he didn't say that in his speech, and that he would get up there and look like he didn't know what he was talking about. And later refused to approach us when we told her it was a CDC fact. It has been since 2020. This is not something new. And so we faced backlash from them, just people who are adamantly there to say no. They're there to vote no, and we know that they're there to vote no, but they're just not very open to change. And then on the other hand, is just from a sense of our student body, I think there is a lot of ignorance at Cherry Creek High School. I'm proud to go there. Like, I love the people there, but we are a 75% white school. We have police officers all over campus, and because we're white, we don't have the issue of students of color feeling very unsafe with those police officers around. So I think part of the issue is just that it's not very real for kids at Creek. I've never been in an incident with gun violence or anything like that. I'm here because a lot of my friends have, but it's never been me. And I think that part of the issue we face at Creek is just that kids don't care because it doesn't affect them, and it's so not real to them. And I think that ignorance is a big issue, because the second you find yourself in that situation, you're gonna wish you'd been aware of it before.
Thank you, that takes courage, thank you.
I think there's a Zoom question, and then we'll go back there.
Yeah, we have a question from Zoom, and I was also going to say as an aside that the Rocky Mountain gun owners, they're the people who filed the lawsuit. They're very. All right, so the question from Zoom is, what are the schools doing to address students' mental health? Are there school counselors to help students deal with trauma of feeling unsafe due to gun violence or being queer?
Hey, this is like my favorite topic. So I'm a big mental health advocate. Me, myself, I have severe anxiety disorder, like severe. My school personally, at Arvadans West, we have tons of counselors who are all professionally trained. They not only do our scheduling, but they also, when a student is having a panic attack or some issue, they're the first person to address it and the first person to step out and be like, what do I need to do for you? It's gone to the point as well where our school actually has a pass system for students that have mental health issues. I have what's called a Problema pass at my school. It's a little llama, it's real cute. It basically gives me guaranteed pass to my school's counselor whenever I am feeling anxious, or to go on a walk when I'm feeling anxious. Our school personally is very good at 504s. I know a lot of schools, our district is not always the best, because I have a stepsister who in middle school, her 504s and IEPs were not being met. So my stepmom, in addition to my stepsister tutor, got to have some very nice words with some district admin. And at least at A West, they're doing it. I know a lot of other schools, they can't afford it. They don't have the funding to be able to think about all of the million other things the school has to do, as well as mental health resources. So one thing that Colorado does offer is free mental health resources for teenagers. One of my favorite counselors actually just went to an organization that does that. I can't remember off the top of my head. If you remember, Ms. Bellman? JCMH, which is Jefferson County for Mental Health. So they offer free mental health opportunities for teenagers. They do not need parent permission to be there, which is very big, especially when it comes to the queer community. And also, almost every single one of our counselors has at some point helped our school's GSA, and I feel like this is a common thing, at least in our county, that our counselors are very ally friendly, and I feel like at least my school supports it, but those low-income schools definitely struggle with it. It is evident because you see them skipping school more, you see queer students skip class a lot when their mental health issues are not being met, or their mental health needs are not being met, because of the fact that they're dealing with so much more on the inside, and school is not a priority. As much as we wish that education could be a priority in our country, for students and teenagers, it is not. It is our mental health. It is what we are going on at home. It is the idea of going to school and being scared that there's going to be a shooting. We would love education to come first, but it cannot in our community until we are addressing the needs of our students. So as much as my school does it well, it is a need within our community. And if that's also something you can advocate for, because a lot of people advocate that there should not be mental health resources because schools should be for learning and not for mental health, which you cannot have one without the other. So yeah,
I think
I'm sorry.
So I just wanted to say, yeah. I was just gonna say Creek, I think, is surprisingly, they put a surprising priority on students' mental health. I know we have a large staff of counselors and mental health professionals that work at the school. The free therapy for kids in Colorado, they do. I remember last year, at least, they promoted it. There were posters on the walls, QR codes. They're trying to give kids these resources. We have peer ambassadors that you can go and talk to, that are kind of just there to support you. I mean, obviously there are problems, and there are still going to be people who, want you to prioritize your academics more than your mental health. But I feel like at least at Creek, they are trying.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. We made it, we were really excited. One of our sponsors for the club is actually one of our school psychologists. That's really important. What Rhiannon was talking about is that it's not just about the shooting. Yes, it's about the effects of trauma from shootings, but also with suicide. Suicide rates just keep going up in our generation. And that comes from this really easy access to guns. For a lot of people, right, when you have that access of letting it happen, you're more inclined for that to happen. So having a school psychologist who offers that different perspective, I think is really important to our club. And I think CCSD also just put in a new, CCSD being the Cherry Creek School District, also put in a new mental health facility, which has made it a lot easier for students who need that help. And it might be more than what a counselor can help you with right there. And I think what Meryl said, I think Creek is doing a great job. We've got a long way to go, but they're definitely trying to.
I would like to point out with that though, we both go to relatively wealthy schools. Again, we are so privileged to be here and to be able to our school is great. I have friends who go to low income schools who are you guys have counselors that actually care about your mental health. You have counselors that come in and do social emotional learning with you guys. That's not a reality for a majority of Arvada. We live in Colorado. Colorado has a very high Hispanic population as well as other ethnicities and representations of color. We are lucky, and it is not us that you are voting for when you vote for those things. It is the students who do not have the funding to go to a counselor and be I am dealing with so much right now, I can't focus. Because a lot of those kids who go to the one underpaid counselor in their school and they go, I have 50 million other things to deal with. I am so sorry, but I cannot help you. It is not the privileged kids that those laws are helping. It is those underprivileged kids that we need to be thinking about. So that's my take, is that yes, the privileged schools get all those fundings and those wonderful things. Those underprivileged schools do not in the slightest, and that's the issue.
So I was wondering how you deal with misinformation and disinformation, both from the student body and something the ministry about intensified in Congress. And one of the representatives said something about the facts, your facts on specifically not true, which just steam coming out of my ears. But how does your school address, digital, literacy and misinformation and, how do you guys do that?
I'd say it's a little bit more difficult when it's our representatives who their job is to be informed about these things and they refuse to be. It's a little bit more difficult to combat that. As far as other students, I think the best thing that we try to do and can do is have open conversations with them. So combat misinformation with information and education. And I think especially with our issue of gun violence prevention, it's really important that we include all points of view into this, because one of the things that we lack is having actual gun owners be part of this conversation. And so our goal is to have open conversations with people who owning a gun is something that's really important to them, and having conversations about, okay, well then what does that look like, and how can we bring in perspectives of students, and how can we bring in perspectives of people that do sports shooting or hunting and do own a gun. And I think that really just having those conversations and not using really inflammatory language or trying to be super polarizing is sort of the main thing that we try to do to combat that. That's how.
And I think for us, I don't know if our school is sharing as much information, just because there is the issue that they have to face, is that we're not trying to invoke anxiety in people. You can only talk about gun violence so much to students who saw it happen at East. There's a lot of misinformation that happens, rumors spread fast. But I do know that there are people who have joined our club because we like to start off a lot of our meetings talking about current events that are happening with guns, and we talk about the facts, and what Brianna was talking about, all of it. Like I said, our school psychologist is one of our sponsors. Another one is a gun owner. She has kids. A lot of people in our club, they go on hunting trips with their moms and their dads and their families. Because I think the issue in America is just so widespread that we're never gonna fully be able to eliminate guns, right? But we can eliminate the violence behind them, and that comes from safe storage. So like for us, we always start our first meeting with doing some like sides of the room, yes or no. And for people who do go to yes when it comes to having a gun, the first question we like to ask them is, do you know how it's stored and what your parents do to make sure you don't have access to it? And it is surprising how little kids know about how guns are stored in their homes. But I think that's also like pushing people to ask their parents to talk to them and like start to learn and educate themselves about the issue. Because I don't think as a school we can tell them everything. I think it's just about pushing them to want to go learn on their own.
And then when it comes to credible sources, our school, part of our ELA program is learning credible sourcing and realizing like what's a reliable source, what's not. But in addition to that, with the thing is every opinion matters in a political debate. It does not matter if I think I'm right, if you think you're right. It is about how everyone feels in that moment. And my biggest thing that I tell people all the time is like, I don't need acceptance, I need respect. I don't need you to accept who I am as a person or what you believe my choices are. I just demand basic human respect. So a big part of that misinformation piece is people thinking that every single queer person is so bent on the fact of getting misgendered, or like, just like there's so much misinformation about how strongly people actually feel about things. And that's part of the reason why we feel so divided constantly, is that we think it's this side or this side and that's it. And the fact that, at least as I'm president of the club, I've been trying to bring the fact of like, there is middles to the thermometer and there is a center. And my big thing is educating students. It does not have to be your way or the highway, and it does not have to be my way or the highway. We can respect each other without having to accept each other. And that's a big thing that I push out from my club, and my school also pushes credible sourcing education within our school. So yeah.
Let's see, we probably have time for one more question, either choice or we'll go, you've had your hand up for a while, sorry.
Question for Izzy. So I'm involved in my high school student thing. We're very small school, and it's mostly good schools. So, I was wondering, there's a big population of non-binary kids in high school, and we're like dancing around the idea of trying to get gender neutral bathrooms. And would you know how to get around that? And your speech, you're mentioning Proposition 9. I was wondering how that.
Title 9. Actually, that's kind of a longer story, but I can definitely get you in contact with me and Ms. Dahlman. Ms. Dahlman is like, she's our biggest advocate at A-West for queer students, but I am like, we have talked to middle schoolers in the past. We actually talked to Manning last year about similar things. I am fully willing to advocate for your school to get a gender neutral bathroom. And if you want to talk to me afterwards and exchange information, I am fully down for that. That's my jam.
I think, you know, kind of like over influence on them.
Absolutely.
So I want them to have, you know, people saying for that.
Yes, we have students. That is my jam. Please come talk to me afterwards.
All right, Joyce, we can.
Oh, I just wanted to know, about the safe storage, if you have a legislator in mind to carry your bill, and I can see how that's something our board might be able to help you with, you know, if you found someone, you know, with at least have our voice and say, it's a great idea, you should do it.
Currently, we are looking at doing it by the school districts and doing district by district. If at this point, I am not sure if it's even feasible for us to try and push this at a state level. I need to talk to our national coordinators more about what our policy agenda is going to be for the legislative session. But if we do get to that point, yes, I will let you know.
Yeah, please reach out, like if you ever get to like a letter writing campaign and you're like, hey, we need to contact this representative, put the push on. Absolutely contact me. I can blast it out on our newsletter and get our activated or Joyce's also, but yes, all of you, please keep in touch with me if there's anything that our group can help with contacting legislators, signing petitions, writing letters, that sort of thing. So we're happy to help. Okay, I think 5 minutes to the end of the meeting. Yeah, I just all right, I'm gonna just close and then I'm gonna let Obi come up here and talk, introduce himself. So anyways, we just thanked our speakers, but thank you so much. In our newsletter, like please follow up with me with any donation links or information that I can put about your club, but we will be posting the video and then naming your organizations as the organizations that we support. And then I just really just wanted to say like how amazed I was by all of you. You're so it just, yeah, super powerful. I really, really appreciate you coming. I know it's hard to speak in front of people. So just thank you for coming and sharing your story and doing what you do, because I think you're making a huge difference in your communities and it's really, really inspiring to see. So with that being said, thank you for coming and we'll let Obi come say hi. Are we watching later?
I won't take too long. Thank you. My name is Arvadans. I'm running for state senate. I just want to say that line, we can respect each other without having to accept each other. I think that was really great. So she's my running mate.
Give me a few years.
And I hope all of you actually do run one day, because we need more people running for office, more young people with the right mindset. So thank you for being here today. So Arvadans, why am I here? I'm running for state senate, and how did I get here? Okay, so my story starts when the world stopped. So in 2020, during the pandemic, during the lockdown, I was reflecting back on my life, and I realized that all the struggles that I went through, so I went through childhood poverty, and I overcame that with a lot of luck and a lot of help, right? But I realized that all of that can be tied back to a policy gap. All the struggles I went through. And I had felt that I lost my purpose in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do, why I was on this earth in 2020. And it wasn't until the insurrection. Okay, so the night of the insurrection is when I realized that although policy has shaped my life, it was my purpose on this earth to shape policy. And I tied that to the fact that my lived experience and all of the great legislators that we have that actually have lived experience, you can see the correlation of the kind of policy they come up with. It's visionary, it's bold, right? There's political courage there because they understand the nuances of the struggles of our working families. And I think that's the missing piece. We need more legislators with lived experience. And that's what I bring to the table. I'm a community activist, I'm a city councilor, and I think that combination of being in the community while being able to come up with solutions. So I've worked in housing, I've worked in transportation, I've worked in healthcare, and I've built my own businesses, right? So I've seen life from a lot of different perspectives. And I think when I think about the working class, where I come from, right? I'm not running from the right or the left, I'm running from the bottom, right? And that's what I'm here to represent. I think that voice is missing right now in the state capitol. The voice of the bottom, the voice of the working class, the voice of folks who know that Colorado is 15%. So the cost of living in Colorado is 15% higher than the national average. Raise your hand if you've ever had an issue with cost of living, whether it's housing, healthcare, or someone that you know. It's a problem, and it's a rising problem, and it's disproportionately affecting our lower income, our immigrants, our voiceless, right? So that's what drives me every day to do this, is to represent them. And I believe that care is a human right. So when we talk about care, that's healthcare, childcare, elder care. All of those should be universal and free. And that's what I'm going to be pushing for. Universal childcare, universal elder care, and universal healthcare. We're not gonna get there in one session or two or three, right? It's gonna take time, but you can't know where you're going with each session if you don't have an actual vision. That's the vision. I think that's what we actually need, and people are hurting, people are surviving, and nobody's thriving. So that's why I'm in this. I hope to have your support. And you heard today a lot of issues, mental health services, gun safety, all of those are intersectional, right? Housing and healthcare are intersectional, right? Social justice and gun rights are intersectional. It's all connected. That's why for schools, one of the things that I want to do is make sure we have mental health services in every school. And I've been speaking with Michael Doherty, the DA in Boulder. He just came up with a program, a smaller program, where he's giving out gun locks for free in the month of September. I'd like to actually have a state-funded, larger initiative where we can make that a thing across the state, right? So I would love your support. I would love your donations. I would love your volunteer help and time. It's gonna be a long campaign. We kicked off in June. We are off and running. We have about 125 volunteers and growing. So if you want to join this movement that we're building, it's a grassroots movement, and it has to be because there's too much money in politics. There's a lot of money in politics, dark money in politics, and I'm seeing it firsthand right now. I'm trying to raise as much as I can, but there are forces that are raising more and outraising us. So I need your help. We can do this if we work together. Thank you for having me.
And that's it. Thank you for coming. I hope to see you next month.
You should. You are so passionate. You just got rolling. Excellent. Yeah.